In this video, I will be just describing the new Nintendo 2DS XL as a system. The reason for this isn't out of laziness, it's because, for those who haven't heard, I don't actually have a case to prop up my iPad, which is why I'm holding my iPad with this hand and, moving the system around with this hand, so I wouldn't be able to play anything. So I'll more or less just describe how the system operates. This is actually... Oh, there goes my fridge. This is the very last Nintendo 3DS system to be released. I believe it was either 2017 or 2019. I forget. I know it was one of the two. And the Nintendo 3DS was the successor to the Nintendo DS, which was the successor to the Game Boy Advance. I'm going to explain that for context because I am friends with a few people who have never played a Nintendo DS before, so pardon me because, yeah, obviously to us gamers, it's old information, so it's not anything new, but you know what I mean. The DS, as I said, was the successor to the Game Boy Advance. And DS cartridges, they were kind of postage stamp shaped. Well, right here I have 3DS cartridges, but more or less the exact same thing. DS cartridges didn't have this little thing on the side. I thought I'd point this out as well. It's not attached to... There's nothing attached to the little nub. That just exists so you couldn't place it in a DS console, but... Back on topic. DS cartridges, with the exception of, I think, only Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black, White, and Black 2 and White 2, those were the only cartridges that were solid black as opposed to, kind of graphite gray color, I think. And yes, the other exceptions are the two physical DSi games, which I have one of them, which is, System Flaw, which I'm not going to play that because, well, I'm not going to play any game, remember? But, speaking of that, the DSi came out in 2009 and lacked the Game Boy Advance slot, which, for those who, again, have never played a DS, there was a second slot at the bottom. The DS cartridge slot was at the top. The bottom slot was for Game Boy Advance cartridges, although, and this might be a surprise, it's probably going to be a surprise for those who've never played a DS, but it can't play Game Boy or Game Boy Color cartridges. I think I remember hearing that they planned on incorporating that feature, but due to technical limitations, they actually couldn't. Somebody please correct me in the comments about that, by the way. But only the DS and DS Lite have the second slot. The DSi/DSi XL don't. Which, yes, there's a DSi and there's a DSi XL, which, as you imagine, is, I think, almost the same size as this. And this is really weird because... I do remember this, but I vaguely remember where I heard it from, if that makes sense. If that doesn't, well, still pardon me. But I remember the reason the DSi XL exists is because at one point, they did have plans for making a DSi XL, a DS Lite XL. I'm not entirely sure why that was scrapped. And before people ask, I have tried looking up more information on it and I have tried to look up images of it. I actually really wanted to see... I would kind of wanted to see that become a reality. But, fast forward to the year 2011, which I think that was 1 year after the DSi XL, and the 3DS comes out. There was the 3DS, which had a very, very painful launch. Yeah, for those who've never played the 3DS was... almost a financial bomb. Like, it didn't do so well in terms of sales, to the point where Nintendo had to drop the price in half, I think. Again, somebody please correct me in the comments. I really appreciate you guys' help. They had to chop the price, I think in half. I think it was chopped in half. And also, as compensation, if you got a 3DS, not the 3DS XL or the later model, it had to be a 3DS if I'm not mistaken. If you got it at its base price, you would get the Nintendo 3DS Ambassador Certificate program thing, where you would actually get Virtual Console NES games for free. I think it was like 15 or 18 of them, and either 15 or 18 Game Boy Advance games, which were kind of Virtual Console, but not really, because they weren't actually released on the 3DS Virtual Console, which, yes, that in and of itself is confusing. Also, there goes my cat in the background. Pardon that. And I will be tackling Virtual Console in this video as well. Oh, there is my cat. Sora, what are you doing? But, back on topic. There are a few versions of the 3DS. There is, well, the 3DS. Then the 3DS XL. The 2DS, which is... I essentially call it a modern take on the Game Boy. And I'm not alone with that joke, right? Like, it's flat. and it can't fold. And you can play game cartridges on it. I know there are 3DS/DS cartridges on it, but it's not just me, right? I'll always see that thing as a modern Game Boy. It was also made in direct response to complaints Nintendo got about, the whole 3D depth slider feature thing. Then after that, in Japan for a while, they got the new Nintendo 3DS, which it had this feature of customizable faceplates, and it was, I think, a little bit wider or a little bit longer than the original 3DS. It's more or less the exact same thing, but with a faster processor and added controls as well, which would be the ZL and ZR buttons and the little C-stick control nub on the inside, which I will get to that. And we got it, but we only got it for a limited time. The very first version, I believe, was the Animal Crossing New Leaf, I almost said New Horizons, bundle, or no, it was Happy Home Designer, pardon me, and it was the Polar White variant. Then I think around the exact same time, or no, I think it was either that or the exact same year, same thing really, we got these Black Friday Super Mario Bros. Editions versions of the system. One was the Polar White one, but with white Mario faceplates, and the other one was black with black Mario faceplates. It released for exactly $99.99, and as you would guess, it's skyrocketed in rarity and price. I think it's one of the most valuable pieces of Nintendo history in general. Again, somebody please correct me in the comment section. And, then we got the new Nintendo 3DS. Yeah, we got the new Nintendo 3DS XL first before we got the new Nintendo 3DS in general, the smaller one. Yeah, that was kind of weird. I'm not gonna go over color variants all that much, but all we got at first for the original 3DS, we got Aqua Blue and Cosmo Black. And then we got like a ton of variants of the original after that. And for the new 3DS XL, we got, oh man, I think they were just called New Red and New Black, which is, I will admit, it's very, very lazy. And then, of course, right here, this is a special Pokeball edition. The last one we got was the new Nintendo 2DS XL. Yeah, it's a very convoluted name. And I want to go over what changes in terms of, overall controls and features and stuff. I'm not going to cover everything, like every small detail. I'm going to cover just the major stuff as opposed to the minor stuff. First of all, you're probably wondering what this is. This, and this. In order, this is a microphone. I don't think it says microphone right there. I'm not entirely sure. This is the inner camera, as opposed to the outward cameras over here. And this is the notification LED, which is green for Street Pass, blue for Spot Pass / update notifications or whatever, orange or yellowish, whatever, for I think it's either local multiplayer or online or both. I can't remember. And it blinks red when the battery is about to die. Which, by the way, hold on. See if we can get it to pick up on camera. Wireless. The middle one is charging, and the one with the little power button is obviously the battery life, which it'll be blue. Oh, there goes Discord. It'll be blue when the battery is fully charged / kind of fully charged, and it'll be red when it's running low. Right here is the stylus, which I gotta put this upside down because I can only do this with one hand. The stylus is kind of weird. It's very, very small. It is very, very small. Stylus is for the touchscreen, by the way. Next to that is the 3.5mm headphone jack. And I have to put this down for a minute so I can it's one of those things where you have to dig in with your fingernail to get it to open. I don't know how to describe that. But, oh, hold on, pardon me. It's very hard to do this with one hand. Once again, pardon me. Is the game card slot, and right next to that, there is a micro SD card slot, which I have a 32GB micro SD card in there. I forgot to tackle that. The DSi, DSi XL, and the earlier versions of the 3DS, well, specifically the earlier models of the 3DS, use SD cards for backing up media, archiving media, photos, and music and stuff, and digital downloads. I think the DSi, you needed SD cards to back up and archive digital downloads, which were DSi were at the time. I can't remember. Somebody please do help me with this stuff in the comments, because I'm having a hard time explaining this enough as it is. And over here is the volume slider, which one of my favorite little details is how, hopefully it picks up on the microphone, you can have it stay put. Like when you want it to be absolutely muted, it'll click in place. I just love that. But yeah, it's not like, a button, press for up, press for down. It's a depth slider essentially. And then you have L, ZL. I think that's infrared. That's a charging port, which I forget what kind of charging cable that's supposed to be, like what its official classification is. ZR and the R button. Why, I almost forget that. And on the inside, again, pardon me, because I have to do it in a weird fashion. Once again, please do pardon me. You have the face buttons, A, B, X, Y. And you have what's known as a C-stick. It's essentially a second analog stick, kind of like think the PlayStation, like, how one's here and one's there. It's pretty much the exact same thing. I think they wanted to fit like an actual full-fledged circle pad, which is, just an analog stick on this side as well, but they couldn't, so that's why it's a C-stick. You have start and select. That's the touchscreen. That's what the second screen is for. There's the inward-facing camera when it's literally facing the player, as opposed to when the system is shut. The home button, the D-pad, and then there's the top screen. I'm going to power on my system. Again, I have to put the camera down, well, my iPad. I am really sorry for this. It's kind of arbitrary, I guess is what I'd say. I have nothing in the game card slot. Yeah, it just told me. I don't have anything in the game card slot. I actually have to turn off my, turn off the light for a little bit, or it's gonna keep glaring. Yeah, there's a lot to cover. I'm not gonna cover all of the minor stuff like I said earlier. But, you have a home menu, I guess, kind of compared to the Wii's home menu, if that makes sense. And you have a lot of things, okay, not a lot, you have things by default. For example, that'll be where you place either a 3DS or a DS cartridge in. That's Nintendo 3DS eShop, which, it's actually dying this year, or no, it's dying next year officially. That'd be where you could go and download games, be it DSiWare, Virtual Console, which, by the way, Virtual Console, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Super Nintendo, which is new Nintendo 3DS exclusive, by the way. There goes my watch. NES, and I think that's it. I really have a hard time remembering certain things for some reason. Nintendo 3DS Sound, which is, where you can record and edit sounds and listen to music if you archive it on your SD card. Nintendo 3DS camera is exactly what it sounds like. It's essentially where you take pictures and look at them. Mii Maker, it's literally the exact same thing as the Mii channel. Street Pass Mii Plaza, I'm not going to cover at all because I don't really use it that much. And the same thing can be applied to AR games. I do like it. Another reason for the reason that I'm not tackling it is because it probably wouldn't pick up that well on camera because it's literally augmented reality. It is pretty cool though. It's a little nice distraction and a way to show off the 3DS's capabilities. Face Raiders for the exact same reason. Not to mention, like, it uses the camera, which, by the way, there's my face! That's funny. That's awesome. Activity log just archives all the games you've played and how long you've played them. Download Play. It's essentially an upgraded version of DS Download Play, and to the point where you can actually choose to play local multiplayer DS or 3DS, which is really cool. So much chaos going on outside. System settings is, well, you know, system settings. Don't think I really have to explain that. Health and safety information. I don't know why they never removed that, to be honest. Nintendo Zone, that's actually been dead for a few years, if I'm not mistaken. I created these. You can create folders. I think that was one of the first things they added. That doesn't come by default, by the way, the save data transfer tool thing. But, again, I'm not gonna go over all the minor stuff like up here and up here. But, is there anything else I should talk about? You know, stuff I really should talk about. I'm trying to think. Pardon me, I'm gonna try and find something to talk about. I guess, you know, the obvious, how the 3DS, any 3DS console can play DS games. It can also play those two DSi games, those physical DSi games, which I only have System Flaw right now. Oh yeah! I could talk about this. Hold on. 3DS, I think they're called banners as opposed to, some people call them banners, I call them banners, some people call them icons, whatever, but like, each 3DS game has its own banner. That's what that is, for example. Those are banners. I like the ones that have a lot more life to them, as opposed to ones like, you know, the ones that are just still images of the game's logo. I don't really like those that much. I don't know if that's just me. Even in games I love, like a lot of them have like just lifeless banners. I like this one, for example, a lot more. Like actual 3D models. Let's see. What's another good one? Oh, this one's adorable. Yoshi's Woolly World. No, Poochie in Yoshi's Woolly World. I always love how all of these have like their own unique little like stuff like, you know, like little jingles. I just love it so much. It gives the games a lot more life even before you start them up, if that makes sense. But, I can't really think of much else to say. And no, not out of laziness or anything. Oh, Super Mario Brothers 2! Just because I don't want to have to cover everything. That would take probably, like, a few hours, and you guys would not want to watch, like, a video that's that long. So, I guess that's, again, pretty much every single important detail. Oh wait, one more thing is that for some really bizarre reason, there exist 3DS games, either ones that are just physical releases, or were physical releases but were randomly pulled from the eShop. Yeah, I don't know why that's the case. Let me show you one of my favorite examples of this, if I can find it. Let's see. Pretty much almost all of my games are in that category. Cave Story 3D, which is not only out of print, but its rarity tends to fluctuate for some reason, is one of those only physical release games. Yeah, it's really strange. I almost forgot to point out that detail. So, I guess that's finally everything major out of the way. So, with that being said, this is Sir Bop-A-Lot, signing out.